And can you also check for Leah Wilson? Is she in the waiting room? Okay, there she is.
I'm sorry.
Board, right?
What attendees do you have? So you
Kristen.
want to allow Kristen to promote to panelists?
Promote to panelists and Manny too, right?
Yeah, you can.
Okay,
Hi, Kristen.
Good morning.
there you go. Oh, one more? Who's there? Okay, everyone's in the panelists now. Kirsten. Uh-huh. Okay,
Have a public comment.
okay.
Okay, now Melanie, I think you can call the meeting to order.
All right, so let's get started, everybody. We are going to start with a call for public comment. Is there anybody from the public waiting to make a comment?
So Gina and Imelda, you would be able to see if there are any attendees that are not, part of the staff here that would be waiting to make public comment. Do you have any attendees showing?
No, there's nobody in the
There is
list.
no, there is no one in the waiting rooms as attendees. No one is
Okay.
waiting.
We do need a roll call.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so if nobody has public comment, let's take roll of the members.
Thank you. I will now call each commission member's name. Please answer with yes or no. Monica Cooper,
Yes.
Joe Domino,
Yes.
Finglan Liu,
Yes.
Kristen Pofall,
Yes.
and the chair, Madam Chair, Melanie O'Day.
Yes.
All members are present and a quorum has been established.
Okay. And I assume we still haven't had anyone stop in for public comment. So would we like me to start with the chair's report, or I know that we were going to have a special discussion about the budget going forward with Ms. Wilson, or do we want to start with her, or do we want to start with me?
You could start with the chair's report.
Okay. All right. So my report for today is that Kristen Pofall, who has dedicated 2 great years to our committee, is going to be moving on to a new position with the Department of Housing and Community Development. As an attorney level 3 there, she'll not have time to dedicate to the commission. So this is her last meeting, but I'd like to thank her for all the work she has done. I very much appreciate it. And then I just wanted to acknowledge that everybody in this room has gone through a very change-filled year. This is not the same group that was here a year ago. So I really appreciate everybody's flexibility and everybody welcoming the new people on board and the support we've gotten. And I just wanted to acknowledge the staff and everything you've done for us. And Lori, I love you. I'm glad you're here, but someday you'll retire. For real. So yes, I just wanted to acknowledge everybody and wish you all a happy holiday, a healthy holiday, and a wonderful 2023. So that's my chair's report.
Thank you, Melanie.
Thank you, Melanie. Okay, I guess I'm up next. I just have a couple of things to report. First, I'd like to introduce Leah Wilson, who is the Executive Director of the State Bar of California. She'll, in a few minutes, be discussing the State Bar's strategic plan. So hope everyone joins me in welcoming Leah to this commission meeting.
Thank you. Welcome.
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 Do you want me to go now or?
If you like, if you're ready to go, sure.
Okay, I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, that's fine.
Okay, great. So thanks everyone for having me here, and thank you for serving on this really important commission. What I want to do is give you a brief overview of the State Bar's new 5-year strategic plan. And I'm gonna provide a little bit of detail in a couple of areas. One, the area that most impacts your work as the commission directly. And then two, those aspects of the strategic plan that are relevant to all sub-entities and really should help inform an understanding on your part of some of the changes, the policy level changes at the bar in terms of public participation and some other things that you might be experiencing. So let me go ahead and share my screen. So the strategic plan as 22 to 27, 2027 strategic plan, and it's built on around four goal areas. All of them start with protecting the public through strengthening the discipline system, increasing access and inclusion in the system, the legal system, regulation of the profession, and engaging partners. Here you see on the screen on the right-hand side, a foundational principle. This is very new in this strategic plan. It refers to a commitment to DEI, not just with respect to increasing the diversity of the profession, but also with respect to the State Bar itself as an employer. And there are a number of different initiatives that we will be undertaking over the 5-year period in that vein. So goal one, this is protecting the public by strengthening the attorney discipline system. New to this iteration of the strategic plan is that we have both goals and vision statements. So here you can see sort of this aspirational vision statement about our system being effective, fair, and timely, not just being that, but being recognized for being that. And if any of you read the press and certainly the legal press, that at this juncture, we're probably not there. Also new in this strategic plan, each of the goal areas is organized around a set of strategies, and the strategies are in the areas of effectiveness, consumer focus, DEI, and policy and systems change. So for goal one, this is the area where we do have a very specific client security fund objective stated in the strategic plan. This is under the header of effectiveness, and this is reducing time to payout. So those of you with any kind of experience on the commission know that this has been an issue for some time. There have been a number of things that have been done, particularly around 2018, 2019, to change processes and rules. And we're really asking you all and the staff to sort of take another look at what can be done in this area. And so in terms of specific initiatives that we've begun to talk about, and some of these hopefully you're aware of, with Melanie Lawrence coming in and sort of taking over for Lori. I know she's made some progress on this first bullet point in terms of getting information more quickly from OCTC. We're looking at new systems for case management. I think this has been a long-standing need for the Client Security Fund, and this is a project that will, in fact, take place in 2023. So there's a number of different things listed here. This is not intended to be an exhaustive list of everything that you all might look at in terms of with respect to speeding up case processing times. I do want to share that this third bullet here about assessing the requirement for formal discipline prior to payout. One of the things that we've learned in spending a lot more time assessing other states' processes is that not all states require formal discipline prior to payout. And obviously, if you did not require formal discipline, payout could be expedited. I think this is probably a controversial proposal. Remember, this is a 5-year strategic plan, so nothing to feel like we need to take a look at tomorrow, but certainly over your coming term, I would expect this issue to come up and some great sort of policy discussions to be had. So this is the very CSF specific aspect of the plan. The rest of this I'm going to go through just to give you a fairly high level overview until we get to the aspects of the plan that address sub-entity functioning. So in goal 2, this again is our access and inclusion related goal. You can see a vision statement here around access to quality, affordable, and culturally competent legal advice and services. This goal area is also built around the 4 strategies. Just giving you like some quick highlights. Here we'll be looking at increasing special admissions. This is a way to get more attorneys out there, particularly attorneys that are working in the legal services area, registered legal services attorneys, and attorneys who are military spouses. So we'll be doing some work to see if we can sort of incentivize more practice in those areas. We also have quite a lot planned in terms of consumer outreach. And ultimately that consumer outreach will include education around the Client Security Fund. But this is that here in this area of the strategic plan, we're really focused on what is called the knowledge gap. You may have heard or are familiar with the Justice Gap study that the State Bar completed in 2019 that identified huge unmet civil legal needs for Californians across the income scale. And one of the issues that was identified as being a reason for that unmet need is called the knowledge gap. People are experiencing a problem, but they're not necessarily clear that it is a legal problem. So the State Bar will be focusing on that knowledge gap under this new 5-year plan. Also, as you can see, a number of DEI related efforts here. We're highlighting the work, our pipeline work, which really is focused on law school retention and bar passage, as later on in the pipeline, people staying in the profession. So we're looking at both involuntary inactive transfers of discipline, basically, and then voluntary inactives. And this last prong on regulatory reform, you may have been aware of some of the controversies the State Bar was engaged in the last sort of legislative year around looking at licensing new individuals, non-lawyers, to deliver legal advice in limited areas. This is a paraprofessional program looking at bringing on a regulatory sandbox in California, a legal regulatory sandbox. They exist now in a couple of other states. These reforms were met with a lot of hostility in the legislature. And so here, really acknowledging that and figuring out ways that perhaps we might lay the groundwork for some progress over the next 5 years.
I'm sorry, I wanted to understand, the legislation is against having regulation of like the paralegal industry. Is that what?
Yeah, so the proposals, the term for these individuals is called paraprofessionals. So they're not paralegals in the sense that paralegals have to be supervised by a lawyer. In now about 18 other states, there are at varying stages non-lawyers who are licensed to deliver legal advice without supervision of a lawyer. These are in very limited practice areas. So you can think of high demand, low representation areas like family law, housing, consumer debt, domestic violence. And typically the category is called a legal paraprofessional. One of the problems is every state has a different name for these folks. And so that doesn't help from a regulatory perspective. This is the issue that was met with a lot of opposition in California when we suggested advancing that program. Goal 3 is quite new in that it focuses on promotion of the ethical and competent practice of law as a key component of public protection. And when I say it's quite new, I would say what's old is new again. So hopefully many of you are familiar with the great divorce of the State Bar, the separation of the trade association and the regulatory agency that occurred in 2018. That was legislatively driven. And that separation created the California Lawyers Association and then the State Bar as a standalone regulator. And when we made that transition, in hindsight, always 2020, I believe now the pendulum swung too far to the side of, we're regulators, we can never help lawyers. We don't help them. We don't have members. We have licensees. Our job is to regulate and to investigate, claims of misconduct. And yes, of course, we put out the rules of professional conduct, but beyond that, we really scaled back what we were doing in the area of trying to support lawyers to be compliant. This strategic plan goal says, hey, that we went too far because prevention is a key component of public protection. And so this goal 3 is new, as I say, for sort of the State Bar 2.0 to go back to the basics around support for lawyers. So here we're doing things like using our data to identify those attorneys most at risk of misconduct complaints and developing resources for those lawyers that we can proactively push out. In some circumstances may be mandated, for example, attorneys transitioning to solo practitioner status from having worked for a firm or for an organization. We know that's a high risk transition to make. We could require some coursework around that or other technical assistance. So you can see here just a number of the different initiatives that are being planned, really under that broad header of support for competent practice is a way to protect the public. And now we're going to go into goal 4. So goal 4, as I mentioned, is relevant to all of our State Bar committees. This is really about how we engage with our partners, with our stakeholders, with the public in order to achieve our mission. And you can see this vision statement here. Partners and stakeholders are actively involved in and supportive of our public protection initiatives, achievements, programs, and services. Achievements, a key word there, us feeling like we do a lot of great work. Certainly on your commission, you know that. You're one of the most feel-good areas of the State Bar. And for many of us, staff and others, you know, we don't often get recognized for the great work that we do. And that is certainly an area of focus for goal 4. So here you see the same strategies, but I'm going to go into a little bit of detail. So under effectiveness, we have enhanced visibility and accessibility to State Bar meetings. I hope that you all are aware that there's been a lot of work underway to standardize the experience of our sub-entities. But this starts with the application process to be appointed onto a sub-entity, but also the way that our meetings are run. The board recently transitioned from Robert's Rules, which is several inches thick, to Rosenberg's Rules, a 10-page procedural manual. And the expectation is that all sub-entities will be following Rosenberg's Rules, not Robert's Rules, much simpler for members and for the public to understand. A lot of new initiatives have been put in place in terms of enabling the public to have access to committees and make public comment. In addition, under this goal area, we talk about being an incubator for innovation, sharing our successes, as I mentioned, and supporting implementation of what works in other organizations. And here, we do some really great work. Some of that is our diversity report card as an example, our study on racial disparities in the discipline system, our new client trust account protection program, universal reporting of all client trust account information to the State Bar. There are a number of examples here. So we're really being intentional about lifting up and elevating the great work that we do. We're teeing a lot of this up for the State Bar's 100th anniversary, which will be 2027. And so I ask you on the commission to start thinking about that, the great work that you do. What do you think should be highlighted in terms of the Client Security Fund, and certainly keeping in mind that 100th anniversary of the State Bar that will be coming up at the conclusion of the strategic plan. Another area here under goal 4 is partnerships. One of the things that we recognize is we've been fairly siloed as an agency. And again, this may be an unfortunate byproduct of our divorce. We've become the regulator and we've kind of are standing alone as the regulator. And so here, one of my messages and asks of those on our sub-entities is to think about what other types of organizations do your work or would be interested in your work that you think we should be reaching out to. So an obvious example for me is our State Victims Compensation Fund, but there are many others. You have parallel funds in other parts of state government, certainly for the other professional licensing boards. And there may be other kinds of organizations that are interested, victims advocacy organizations outside of the client security fund type of space. So I'd just like you to be thinking about that, because it's important for us to create a broader network of organizations that know about what we're doing and that care about what we're doing, and that can support us as needed as we try to make progress in achieving our mission. Another message in this strategic plan is that the State Bar intends to be a transparent organization. Those of you that are lawyers should, for example, have recently received an email from us disclosing information about over 200 closed complaints against now disbarred attorney Tom Girardi. Was a lot of information for us to disclose, not particularly favorable for the State Bar, but we're really trying to send a message that we intend to be transparent. So again, in thinking about your work and how you do it, I just encourage you to lift up and to reflect that value around transparency. Expanding multilingual content and outreach. I think this is pretty self-explanatory, and I know I'm not sure if this has already happened with respect to the CSF materials or it's planned, but I know that there is work underway with respect to the 6 common languages spoken in California. So you see that right here in the plan. And then lastly, here, what I want to highlight is engage diverse voices in the development and evaluation of State Bar policy. Where this becomes very relevant to our committees and to the board is that you will see, if you have not experienced it already, we have a board that's very interested in maximizing public membership on our commissions, non-attorney members. So where we have flexibility in the number of non-attorney members, you will see the board pushing for an increased number of non-attorney members. You may even see over the course of this 5-year plan, statutory and rule changes promulgated to try to increase the number of public members. In addition to public members, diversity in every sense of the word. So not just the obvious sort of racial, ethnic, gender diversity, but diversity in professions, professional experiences, and geographic diversity. So that's one, is who's on our committees, where you will really, I think, start to experience this emphasis. Another aspect of our work that I think encourages this type of diversity and also relates to the sort of standardization of the committee experience I spoke about earlier, that I think will impact you is really taking a look at how members are identified by the sub-entities to recommend to the board for appointment, sort of the candidate review and application process. I understand that it's quite different amongst our various entities, with some, including, I think, the CSF Commission doing sort of interviews, perhaps during commission meetings. But you can expect to see over the course of the next appointment cycle some real standardization of the process, because we expect that the experience, if I'm applying to be on CSF or COPRAC or the Committee of Bar Examiners, will essentially be the same for me as a candidate. So that's something you can expect to see as well. So with that, I don't have any more slides to share. I know that was a lot of information. I wanted to provide you with that detail around the CSF aspects of the strategic plan, and then just give you a general sense of some of the other focus areas for the bar for the next 5 years. Happy to get any feedback, comments, questions.
Thank you.
I just wanted to comment that I really thought the trustees' letter about the GRD cases was very transparent. I was very impressed with the seriousness of the language and the accountability that the bar took. So I thought that was very good.
Okay, well, I will definitely share the deck with staff so they can share it all with you. And I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with over the next couple of years, certainly with respect to those CSF specific initiatives outlined in the plan. And I'll stay on for a bit if you don't mind.
Sure.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leah.
Okay, if there are no more staff comments.
I've just got a couple more. I'd like to join you in thanking Kristen for her service, and we'll miss you. Wish you had been able to stay longer, but you have to, you know, take care of your business. So thank you. Thank you for being part of helping protect the public.
Thank you, Matthew.
Let's see. I'd like to congratulate Commission Member Monica Cooper on her reelection as treasurer of the city of Carson. I think, from what I understand, the vote total was over 75%. So congratulations, Monica.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I've got some statistics. Let's see, this is as of November 30th. This year, we've resolved 857 cases. This time last year was 824. So we're about the same despite all the changes that we've had over the last year, the departures and the new people coming in and all the training going on. We've reimbursed 2.9 million to date, or actually as of November 30th. We have another 1.2 million in process, but about 250,000 of that, there are objections on those cases. So those objections will be handled next year. So we're going to be just shy, I think, of $4 million reimbursed this year. We now have a total of 1,159 open cases. That's 170 less than this time last year. And we've actually received about 25% more new cases this year. We received 715 cases total compared to 562 last year. I mean, obviously last year was a big pandemic year, so that seems to have suppressed the number of cases, and they're now picking up. Next, we have Betty, I think, submitted to everyone a tentative meeting schedule for next year. And if you don't, if you take a look at that, from what I understand, Fenglan, you have conflicts on the first two, the March 2nd meeting and the May 25th meeting.
Yes.
So I was wondering if we could push those back a week early.
Let me get my calendar, push back a week. We should be okay. My calendar. Yeah. Sorry too much. Yeah.
And also the some of those meetings may not be Zoom meetings. I think it's still undecided whether we'll go back to in-person meetings, and so we'll see, you know, whether or not we do that, or some hybrid.
Yeah, if you push back a week, March 9th should be okay with me.
Could we go in the other direction? Back to February?
February 23rd.
Let me check on my February 23rd, sorry. February 23rd, I can't. I can do February, have to be a Thursday. March 9th, I'm good. March 16th, I'm good.
And what are the other members?
Oh, actually, February 23rd, maybe that one I can cancel. Maybe I can do it. Maybe because maybe that case, maybe we'll cancel. I think I can do it. That is a conference. Anyway, if we cannot do on March 9th.
And the other commission members, any opinions on these dates?
This is Monica. I'm fine with all the dates.
Okay.
No conflicts on my end.
So since it looks like you're clear on March 9th, Fenglan, why don't
Yes.
we select that date since it's a certainty?
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay. And then May 25th, perhaps the prior week or 2 weeks prior to that?
Prior week will be May 18.
Yeah, I'm good on May 18.
Okay, thanks.
Everyone else?
I'm fine. This is Monica.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're looking at March 9th, May 18th, August 17th, October 12th, and December 14th.
Yeah, thank you. I'm good.
Okay, thank you. All right. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you so much. So we're going to move into the business. Does anybody want to move to approve the minutes from the last open session?
So moved.
Thank you. Does anybody second?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, I think we are going to take a count. So answer aye or nay for, I don't know if it's going to be Betty or Melda or Gina.
It's Gina.
Okay.
I'll call each commission member's name. Please respond with yes or no. Monica Cooper,
Yes.
Joe Domino,
Yes.
Feng Lang Lu,
Yes.
Kristen Pofall,
Yes.
and Madam Chair Melanie O'Day.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, if there are no further comments for the open session, we continue to not have any members of the public, correct? Nobody is logged in.
That is correct.
Okay, then I'm going to move for us to move into closed session. So the procedures are that our legal authority to move into the closed portion of our agenda is pursuant to Government Code Section 11126 C3 and the Client Security Fund Rule 3.461A. We're going to go into closed session to review the legal calendar.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
See everybody in the next room.
Thank you.
Go back and see if we can actually.
Okay. Okay, hold on.
You drop this?
Oh, sorry.
Is that yours?
Yeah, no, I don't think it's mine. Stop sharing. Okay, hold on. Pause.
We don't have a quorum to adjourn. Is that necessary?
I'm the chair and this is a dictatorship. Let's go.
Yeah.
That was on recording. I shouldn't have said that. Oh, we've got quorum.
There we go.
Am I here?
Yes, you're here. We're very excited. because we at least have 3 people from the commission.
I made it.
Okay, welcome back. Fanglan, yes, I'm promoting them. Fanglan and Monica. Okay. Perfect.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the open session. We're going to adjourn, but I think we have to take a call for adjournment. So we need Gina. Gina's there. I see her.
Yes, I am here. We do have a quorum and we're not taking a vote, are we?
No, I think it's okay just for the chair to adjourn.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody, for coming back into the open session. Let's adjourn. And Kristen, good luck.
And good luck.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone. It's been a pleasure.
Happy holidays.
Happy holiday.
Thank you.
Holiday.
Bye.
Bye.